Today, businesses have invested in a lot of technologies. Technology is moving very, very rapidly. The pace at which it is evolving, all businesses want to adopt that new technology. And that's why they are investing in the new technologies as well. But what is happening when you are investing in so many technologies? All these applications are working in silos. They are there in your IT infrastructure, but they are working in silos. There is no common thread that connects all these applications. So if you look at your IT infrastructure at the moment, there will be many incompatible technologies that will be sitting in your infrastructure. So the advantages that one technology is going to bring to your business, the second technology is going to take that away. And that is exactly what is happening in current business situation, in your current IT infrastructure. So what exactly businesses need today is to sit down and see which technologies are really compatible. Are you really leveraging what benefits one technology is bringing to you? Are you really leveraging that benefit and building on the benefits of that technology? Is it really happening? Or your business is really an IT mess at the moment? These are some questions that you need to really think over at this moment. Otherwise, you will keep continuing the same thing and your business IT infrastructure will be like a bachelor's house. It will be total waste. There is nobody who is managing that properly. It's you eat something, you throw it here, you don't wash your clothes. So it's like a whole mess, IT mess, technology mess, I would like to say. So is your business really like that at the moment? You have to really think over this point. And so what exactly your business needs at the moment is a companion that can give you the flexibility, adaptability, agility, where you can leverage the advantages of one technology and build on top of that and then bring the new technologies. And that brings us to the topic of this discussion, which is PostgreSQL Virtualization. Let's take a look at current IT strategy problem. What is happening in the IT infrastructure of many businesses? If you take a closer look at this slide, on the right hand side, you will see where companies are spending their IT budget. So on the top, you will see database maintenance and license fees. Second is OS licensing and maintenance. And third is your hardware, redundant hardware and maintenance of the hardware. So companies have really thought about this problem for time and then they have identified, let's get rid of redundant hardware and also on the maintenance. And that problem was addressed by, what you really need here is optimizing your resources at the hardware side. Companies have eventually come up to the point to realize this, that they don't need to invest in so many hardware. They don't need to invest in so many servers. There is a technology that you can adopt and you can leverage and bring down the cost of your hardware. And companies have successfully done that by using virtualization. And this is what has happened by using virtualization. We have so many servers previously, database server, application server, test server, then web server, email server, print server. Previously it used to be like really scattered. Everything will have a new server. But what really brought by this virtualization to you is everything consolidated into one single hardware machine by providing hypervisors and all. But so let's take a look at advantages of virtualization. I think you all must be aware of this, so I will quickly run through this slide. So basically you can run multiple VMs on the same server. What that essentially means is you reduce your hardware footprint, your server data center footprint. What this essentially leads to is consolidating your workload. Means previously you had so many servers, web server, email server, browser, web server, and application server. So all these servers are now consolidated into a single hardware which is running this, and you can run the workloads on virtual machines. And this has led to very fast server provisioning. So if you want to add any new application, any new server into the setup, you can easily do that by just provisioning it on a separate VM, and the current hardware setup, everything remains the same. So you can quickly provision your server for handling new workloads. It has also given you a flexible vertical scale. So you don't need to really take down your current applications running when you want to add something new like memory, upgrade your CPU power, run new application. So when you want to do that, you really don't need to take down or take apart, have some downtime for your current infrastructure. You don't need to do that. So that is possible by using virtualization. And of course, it has led to increased uptime. So these are the advantages of virtualization, and I am sure you all must be knowing this. But are you really leveraging all the advantages that are brought to you by virtualization? Let's take a look at the same slide. Your businesses have addressed the problem which was at the bottom, which was redundant hardware and maintenance through virtualization. But has your IT spend really gone down by doing that? No. What Forrester research found is something different. What is happening right now is those businesses who have invested a lot on virtualization and consolidating workloads or server hardware by using virtualization, they are still spending a lot of money on the database licenses and database maintenance. And that amount is not really small. Out of your total IT spend, you are spending close to 35% on the database licenses and maintenance. And this is not a small amount. This is a big amount. Companies like Oracle, Microsoft, and IBM with their proprietary databases are charging a hefty amount for licenses and maintenance of the databases. And this was done by the Forrester research. So what you really need to do now to completely take advantage of virtualization, I mean, why you basically wanted to get into virtualization was to remove your hardware maintenance and licensing costs. But whereas you are still spending a lot of amount on your database maintenance and licenses. So you are not really leveraging or not really getting the benefits of saving the cost on hardware. So what businesses now need to do is get rid of this DBMS spend and hardware spend and really go towards growth. What exactly they can do by saving this IT budget spend? Now take a look at the left side. These are some of the innovations that are happening in the world. Big data, business intelligence, business analytics. And these are the activities where businesses can really leverage their IT saving on the virtualization or the database and invest in these innovations. Finally, it will lead to increased revenues because these are some revenue generating activities. By using business analytic tools, you will get some intelligence about your current business, what products are selling more, what products are not selling, where they are selling. All this data analytics will be done by these BI tools, business analytics tools, big data. All these new innovations are happening. So by saving your dollars on hardware or database, what you can do is invest in innovation. You don't need to reduce your IT spend. You can still have that IT spend, but use it on the innovation rather than maintenance of the technologies which are very mature. So database is one such technology which is very mature. It has been there since 1970s. And just because Oracle or SQL Server were there first, they are first movers. they are trying to crunch money and get some more leverage on that. But do businesses are so dumb to spend on that? No. And do we have any alternative? And yes, virtualization is currently successful, but it's very lonely. I mean, we are not really leveraging the advantages, and what it needs is a good companion who can actually help your business leverage that, and that is provided by Postgres. So Postgres is a very good, perfect alternative for proprietary databases like Oracle, SQL Server, and IBM's DB2. So let's take a closer look at what exactly is Postgres and what is this company called EnterpriseDB is doing in this. So what basically EnterpriseDB is currently doing is bridging the gap of what open source software brings to you and what commercial software offers you. When you talk about open source technologies, there are two major challenges. One is product strategy roadmap, and second is support services. So when you are using any open source technology into your production, and if you hit any problem, what will happen? Whom should you approach? Is there any person who is responsible for handling your issues? No. And do you have clear visibility of product roadmap when you are using any open source technologies? Probably not. So EnterpriseDB is a company which is bridging the same gap. They are saying, okay, Postgres is a community database. You use that. But we will provide you the support and maintenance services, we will give you the training, and we will help you to ramp up on this new technology. As well as at the same time, we will also give you a clear-cut product strategy. What is going to come in our next releases, what is available, what community is working on, what we are working on, what we promise. All these things are brought up by EnterpriseDB. So it's advantages from both the worlds. So a typical open source will provide you fast development cycle, there will be thriving community, so that's why your source code will be getting a lot more eyeballs than any proprietary software, and that's why it's more likely that it will be bug free or the bugs get fixed quite quickly. That is the third point, which is build code. And overall, open source solutions typically promise you lower cost. So these all benefits are available by EnterpriseDB's Postgres Plus advanced server. At the same time, EnterpriseDB also promises you 24/7 support services, training, indemnification, certification, and all the advantages of a commercial software, including the powerful product strategy. So what is this EnterpriseDB? This company has come up with a product called Postgres Plus, which is based on EnterpriseDB's Postgres community database. And it has been recognized now by Gartner also that it's one of the challengers to the main proprietary databases. And the advantages it brings to you is it's technically very, very sound. It is easy to adopt. And the third point is it's very economical as compared to proprietary databases. We will take a look at the next slide, which is about what is technically sound means. So basically at the core, it's still the community version Postgres, but on top of that, EnterpriseDB as a commercial company, they have built some proprietary performance enhancements, security, and some maintenance and managing tools like Postgres Enterprise Manager, which is very similar to Oracle Enterprise Manager, which helps you to maintain your database, manage your database. And it has also enhanced the security of the product itself. And what that brings to you is all these, on the right side if you see all these hexagons, these are all the offerings of the database, like high availability, security, replication, database migration toolkit, performance. And why it is easy to adopt? See, when a company invests in a technology, it doesn't invest just in the technology. Suppose you are developing on some applications on Oracle. Because you know that your DBAs are comfortable with Oracle, comfortable with DB2, comfortable with SQL Server. Okay, you take a call, you develop applications on that particular technologies. So basically, it's not only the technology, but your people's skills, your resource skills also matter. And exactly the same point that PostgreSQL Advanced Server addresses. They know that whenever a company decides to change the technology, they will feel the pain of not only switching from one technology to another, but they have to retrain their people. They have to retrain the people, their skill sets, and this is really a big problem for adopting any new technology. So what this Oracle compatibility brings to you is, it says that, okay, your applications will be, it will be easier for you if you're working on Oracle to migrate to PostgreSQL Advanced Server without much of the code change. Almost seamlessly you will be able to migrate. At the same time, whatever languages or whatever programming stored procedures you are using in PLSQL, if you are using PLSQL, you can still use the same skill set for a DBA to use on PostgreSQL. So your DBAs, your technical persons, no need to retrain them for PostgreSQL. For them, the change has been very, very transparent. They will not differentiate between program that was running on Oracle as against the program application that was running on BPS. So for them, the environment remains the same. So this is a key benefit that is brought by Oracle compatibility. Now let's take a look at economical factor, which is really helping businesses to reduce their SEO cost. So the graph here shows the total 3-year subscription for 6 sockets compared against all the proprietary databases against PostgreSQL by EnterpriseDB. So the blue portion is actually the licensing fees. So on the rightmost side it's Oracle, and the leftmost side it's EnterpriseDB. So if you just look at this graph, what you will realize is there is no licensing fee for EnterpriseDB's PostgreSQL Advanced Server, whereas all other proprietary databases will charge you hefty licensing fees. Then the red portion is basically the maintenance, annual maintenance. So PostgreSQL currently charges per socket. If you know about socket and core pricing, so this is per socket, whereas all other databases charge you per core. So for example, your CPU chip, which is, we call it as a socket, it contains 16 cores or 8 cores. If you want to buy Oracle, you have to buy actually 16 licenses if your CPU chip is holding 16 cores. Whereas in EnterpriseDB's PostgreSQL, you just need to buy one subscription for one socket, not for 16 cores inside. So that's how EnterpriseDB is actually bringing the cost down of your subscriptions, your database maintenance, and licensing. Who are using it? So if you see the global customer base, you will see big names like Yahoo, Instagram, Skype. On the right corner, you will see Sony Online Entertainment, and InMobi. So these are big names which are actually using PostgreSQL. And who are the customers in ASEAN region? So in Philippines, we have Globe Telecom, concentrates ARC worldwide. Then in Malaysia, we have Telecom Malaysia, Mos. So if you see overall landscape, it has been doing quite great in telecom landscape as well as in other sectors as well, in retail, in government, especially public sector. We are doing quite good. Many government organizations are adopting it, especially in Malaysia. We are seeing a lot of traction where government is promoting open source based technologies and solutions in all their projects. So what are the complementary features for virtualization brought by PostgreSQL? So it gives you a vertical scalability. It has very less memory required, low memory footprint. So if your database typically requires, for PostgreSQL, it typically requires less than 1 GB of memory footprint. and it has built-in streaming replication. It has very strong security features, give you access like host-based access. So for example, if your DBA is knowing username and password of the system or the database access, and one day if you fire that DBA and he really goes mad and decides to hack into the database and destroy it completely, and he goes home and tries to do that, it will not be possible because of this host-based access. What can be configured is this particular DBA, even if he knows username and password, he has to log in through that particular IP address to actually log into the system. So even if he knows username and password and he goes outside the infrastructure or tries to log in through using different IP address, it will not be possible. Then there is log-based replication across the data centers. That is also possible. And of course, it also gives you a better price performance ratio. So you save on the cost, at the same time you get all the features available in proprietary databases. So why virtualization and Postgres is a perfect fit? Now let's put these points together. We have seen the advantages of virtualization and we have seen what are the complementary features of Postgres. So let's take a look at the overall perfect fit. What these two technologies bring together and what kind of offer they make. So the topmost is workload consolidation, that is brought by virtualization, whereas host-based security, that is feature of Postgres Plus. And what it offers is you can run multiple DB instances on the same physical box. So if you want to have a UAT environment, your test environment, then you have your production environment, you can do that on the same virtual environment and using the same hardware physical box. So it saves you cost on your database licensing. Now the second point is reduce the data center footprint that we have seen as an advantage of virtualization. And Postgres Plus Advanced Server has a low memory requirement. So what does that mean is you can consolidate your development and test environment on a single physical box. Again, you have faster server provisioning from virtualization and built-in streaming replication by VPS. And what that means is you can build and maintain huge clusters. You can quickly recover whenever there is any outage. And you can add any nodes on the fly for any horizontal scalability that you want to add. So basically you don't need to take down your system to add any new hardware or any new VMs or any new applications in the setup. You can do that by keeping the same environment and doing this log-based replication, built-in and streaming replication of Postgres Plus. Now both the virtualization and Postgres Plus offer you vertical scalability. So what does that bring you? You can actually better utilize your resources on the fly, and resources can be provisioned on the fly. So if one day you decide to take down one particular application for maintenance, you can do that, or you want to add a new application on the fly, you can do that. You want to change your memory footprint and memory allocations without taking the system down, you can do that. So all these resource provisioning can be handled on the fly without taking any of the system down. And of course the increased uptime, which is brought by virtualization and log-based replication by VPS, it gives you an increased availability of the database as such. So if you are running any mission critical applications and your business cannot tolerate any downtime during your production setup, you can do like if you want to maintain particular or you want to take any database down for some maintenance activity, you can provision other VM to take that database activities, bring that up so that your production setup doesn't get affected because of this setup. Then you can run multiple VMs and better price performance ratio by Postgres Plus. What that brings is you can do database consolidation. I think I highlighted this point before also, that you can run many database instances in the same VM environment on the same physical box. And what that means is your total cost of ownership on various database licenses and maintenance reduces, because now you are using the same physical box. That means you are using similar CPU chips, same CPU chips rather, for running all these nodes, because virtualization is taking care of all the workloads, various application servers, various web servers. So what runs on the database, what runs on the hardware, one physical box that is running all these VMs. And Postgres Plus, I would like to highlight here, charges per physical socket. It doesn't care how many virtual instances, how many virtual cores are running on top of that. What it cares is the physical CPU. And that's what matters for licensing or subscription of Postgres Plus. And hence, your total cost of ownership for owning so many database instances, so many applications, comes down tremendously. So what is the future of this marriage of Postgres versus with virtualization? It opens up opportunities in virtual private cloud. I think we discussed a lot on the cloud and how it can help. So virtual private database and auto-scaling cloud databases, these are some opportunities that can open up when you have these kind of solutions working together. And this is my concluding slide, where IT managers will live happily after doing this marriage. So I really hope all these IT managers, CTOs sitting here will consider this option of bringing together these two technologies and really leveraging the advantages of what is bring by virtualization. You really leverage that, bring your TCOs down by adopting the Postgres Plus. So I will be happy to talk to you after this session and address any of your concerns. Please come to me. We have our partner, IT Group, who is working with us in Philippines. So I'm from Ashnik. We are actually master partner to EnterpriseDB in ASEAN region. So all the business for EnterpriseDB we are doing in this region. And our local representation is by IT Group in Manila, Philippines. So please approach me or IT Group if you want more information on EnterpriseDB's Postgres Plus, or you want to talk about the technology Postgres Plus. I will be more than happy to help you in that respect and see how we can brought you on this new technology. Thank you. Thank you.